And welcome into PressBox Live. I'm Stan the Fan Charles of PressBox and PressBoxOnline.com. And with me is a very interesting person who's got an even more fascinating story. Samantha Lannon is going to join us, and we're going to talk about the Evans Scholars Foundation, charitable foundation that is funded an awful lot by the proceeds from the BMW Championship. But first, a word about our sponsor, and that is C3 American Exteriors. Go to their website at c3america.com to get a brand new roof for just the cost of your insurance deductible. And as I like to say, every Monday and Wednesday, when we do these Zooms, when I talk about C3, you will have no more expensive piece of business when you own a home than fixing or replacing your roof. You got to know the people you're dealing with. You got to like the people you're dealing with. You have to trust the people you're dealing with. I check all those boxes when I talk about C3 American Exteriors. The website again is c3america.com. And joining me now is Samantha Lannon, a Dulaney High graduate and also a graduate of Ohio State University. Samantha, thank you so much for coming in and sharing your story with us.
Not a problem. I'm happy to be here.
All right. So let's get to the story, because I did not know anything until the BMW Championship was coming to Caves Valley this year, which is big news. It starts August 24th. The actual play is Thursday through Sunday. 70 of the top golfers in the world will be there. But I knew nothing about the Evans Scholars Foundation until I began researching for an interview I did about this tournament about 6 weeks ago. And why don't you educate our viewers out there about what the Evans Scholarship Foundation, the Evans Scholars Foundation, is about and what it did for you?
Yeah, so the Evans Scholarship Foundation is a full ride, full housing scholarship for undergraduate college. And the basic requirements are that you have caddied for at least 2 or 3 years, that you have good academics, and that there's financial need, and that you've done a lot of like leadership and community service. So it's really kind of a neat like little niche that is for caddies.
And I'm just curious, were you on the golf team at Dulaney?
I was, yeah, and that's actually how I had heard about caddying at Baltimore Country Club. The caddy master had reached out to our Dulaney athletic director and asked for some golfers to come and start caddying.
Before we circle back and talk about how you got the scholarship and what it's done for you, so when you're golfing and you find out about caddying, the furthest thing from your mind was that you were going to get a scholarship out of this. What appealed to you about caddying?
Yeah, so caddying was my first summer job, and it was like sophomore year of high school, around that time that you start looking for a job. And it just sounded perfect to me because I played golf, and so it was a way for me to be out on the golf course. We were able to play at the club on Mondays for free, so it was a way that I could get some extra practice time in. I loved like that it was fast moving, you're walking the whole time versus like other typical summer jobs for teenagers, like such as lifeguarding or something, where you're just kind of sitting around.
Or sitting in an office moving papers around and filing or something like that. What did you find? And we're going to end up talking a lot more about the Evans Scholarship Foundation, but I do want to know, what else did you find that was interesting about caddying? I have a feeling, because I heard you speak at Media Day, that you ended up liking the interplay that you had with the golfers.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun because you're out there for like 4.5 hours, and really just have conversation with the members the whole time, which when I first started out was like probably a little awkward for me, but now I've been caddying for like 7 years there, so I pretty much know everyone, and everyone's always keeping up with how I'm doing in school, so it's nice to see a lot of familiar faces, and we just fall into conversation really easily. It made a lot of great connections out there too. The veterinarian who mentored me was a member there, and I met him through the club, so it's been really great.
That's really fantastic. So now you're caddying, and you've done it, I'm guessing, the first summer. And when did you find out? Was it that first summer that you found out about this, the second summer, or the third summer that you found out about the potential to apply for an Evans Scholarship Foundation grant?
Yeah, so actually when they pitched like the caddying job, there was an Evans alumni who had mentioned the scholarship. But at the time, I wasn't really thinking much of it. I was just hearing like job, and that was all I was focused on. And the scholarship wasn't seeming that attainable. Like I had never heard of it. And, I don't know. It just seems like something that was like really far fetched. And then probably like my second summer there, when I was after my junior year of high school, that's when people really start talking to me about the scholarship. And we have a lot of supporters at the club who donate to the scholarship. So a lot of people were really pulling for me and trying to help walk me through the process to make it seem doable and not so far fetched. And then I applied and it all worked out.
So, it's interesting because I read about, since the BMW has been involved with what used to be called the Western Open, it's now become, since 2007, the BMW Championship. And by the way, it's been around since 1899, this tournament. I read that since BMW has been involved in it, they've donated some 35 to $40 million to this Scholars Fund Foundation. And I have a little gnat flying around my room here, and I'm trying to plug them. But I just found out today that people can donate money to the foundation.
Yeah, so they call them like par club members. And they donate. I'm not sure exactly what the donation regimen is, whether it's monthly or yearly,
Right.
but and a lot of Evans alumni too, we end up donating back, which
Yeah.
I'm not
I
able
was
to yet because I'm still in school and about to be in debt. But yeah, one day I will definitely donate back.
That's incredible. So tell me now, you apply for this. How long did it take for you to hear back from the Western Golf Association and get the process rolling that you were really going to be considered for this?
Yeah, so I actually had to submit the scholarship application before I had submitted any of my college applications. I think it was due like mid-September at the time. Um, and then it was really like silent. Like I hadn't heard anything until I think it was maybe early February or something. And I was starting to get nervous, like, okay, maybe I didn't get it. And like, maybe they're just not going to tell me anything. Like, I just remember waiting around and like wondering. Um, and they kind of do it by like region. So being on the East Coast, we're like one of the last final selection interviews to happen. But so I was seeing posts that like people in the Midwest, like they would post like 20 Ohio caddies awarded it. And I was like, oh, what about me? But yeah, so I think like early February is when I heard that I was invited to the final selection meeting, is what they call it. And then I traveled to New York for that. And it was in some like really big fancy library in New York. And there were some other caddies from New Jersey there, and maybe some caddies from New York. It was just kind of all the East Coast caddies. And that was probably the most intimidating thing I've ever done. We stood like one by one in front of a room full of maybe like 50
50 people are
WGA
interviewing.
officials.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so they read a little bit of your essay and some stuff from your resume right before you walk in so that the crowd is familiar with you. And then you walk in and the floor is just open for them to ask any questions that they want.
And
Um,
do all 50 people ask questions, or was it more like 10 questions?
no, yeah, it was probably more like 10 or maybe even less because, um, there's a guy there kind of running it and we'll only take so many hands to keep things down to a certain time constraint. But it really wasn't as bad as like I thought it was going to be. They told us, they're not going to ask you any questions that you don't know how to answer. They're all going to be questions about yourself, like yourself, you can answer them, and that was true, and a lot of people were just asking questions about like why I was interested in veterinary medicine and some questions about like my caddy experience and just all questions about my life.
So I get the sense that the questioning process is pretty serious, or the vetting, because they have a graduation rate of 95% of the Evans Scholars Foundation people graduate college, and it's a cum GPA of 3.4 something. So
Hmm.
they get some pretty good kids here. Uh, from that questioning, was there again a secondary waiting period, or did you find out that night that you were going to get this?
Yeah, so there was another wait period. It wasn't quite as long, maybe like 2 weeks, and then I got my exception in the mail.
That's really an incredible story.
Hmm.
Now, I got some more questions to ask you, but I have to throw in the fact that your sister is now going to be, she's starting as a freshman. You've graduated Ohio State
Hmm.
University. You're about to embark on your veterinary school training down at Virginia Tech. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Okay. But your sister is carrying on the tradition of the Lannon family. She's going to be also an Evans Scholarship Foundation uh, recipient.
Yeah. Yeah. She
And
moves into University of Maryland in just a few weeks. She's super excited.
all right, that's really incredible. Now, getting back to this, um, did you did the experience end up opening up the idea of becoming a vet to you? In other words, at Ohio State, or is this something you've been on track to do your entire life? And you mentioned that you had a mentor while you were caddying.
Yeah, I've been on track to do veterinary medicine. I want to say since high school. Basically, since I was a kid, I knew that I always wanted to do something with animals. Um, but I kind of had like a strong aversion to needles as a kid and fainted frequently. So I honestly didn't know if like veterinary medicine was on the table for me. And wasn't sure if I should just do something more along like the research lines, like do field research and conservation type of thing. And then my senior year of high school, I interned at a veterinary clinic and was able to get all the experience and watch surgery and realized that I thought it was the coolest thing ever and it didn't make me faint. So from that point on, I knew that I could stomach it and I was ready to commit to it. So my full 4 years at Ohio State were all committed to getting into vet school.
That's really incredible. As Virginia Tech, like a really good veterinary program, is it known as a pretty special place?
Yeah, it's definitely well ranked. It's called the Virginia Maryland College of Veterinary Medicine. It's kind of a collaboration between University of Maryland and Virginia Tech,
Okay.
but located here at Virginia Tech. But it's great because I'll get in-state tuition. There aren't any other veterinary schools within the state of Maryland. So
Okay. You know, what's fascinating to me is when I heard that you got this thing, and I said, man, that is really neat that this Evans Scholars Foundation paid for her full ride to, Ohio State. But now I'm reading that some of your friends with the Western Golf Association out there, um, Amy and Kat sent me this extra information that right now there are 11,323 alumni of the program. And I think currently, why didn't I write that figure down? There's like about 1,100 students that are currently on scholarship at 19 universities around the country. So this
yeah,
is, I mean, this is a serious scholars foundation.
it is. Yeah, at Ohio State in our chapter, we always had like between 70 and 75 scholars at a time. It
That
was
is
really awesome.
really, that's quite remarkable. Want to remind people, by the way, we're talking to Samantha Lannon. Part of the reason is because the BMW Championship is coming to Caves Valley. If you're interested in finding out about tickets, go to their website at bmwchampionship.com/2021 hyphen tickets to check into buying tickets. 70 greatest golfers in the world. Will you be out there watching?
I will not actually. That's It happens to be right after my very first week of classes,
Oh
so
my goodness.
I just
Okay.
can't make the 10-hour round trip,
Yeah, I
but
got that.
I definitely wish I was there. My
Yeah.
sister will be there though.
Now,
She's
have you
gonna be
played? Have
volunteering.
she's volunteering? Yeah. Had your
I think she actually might be caddying for one of the golfers too.
wow. Okay,
Yeah.
that would be wild. Have you played Caves Valley?
I did one time. Yeah, there's a handful of members at Baltimore Country Club are also members at Caves. And one of them, Mr. Palmer, had taken me out shortly after I found out that I got the scholarship. He was like, all right, we'll do a victory lap at Caves Valley. And so we went out with two other female pros from Baltimore Country Club. And at Caves, you have to have caddies. So it was interesting for once I had a caddy. I wasn't the caddy. And it was a fun time.
Yeah, I played it years ago. I've since had cervical fusion surgery. My surgeon said don't golf, so I won't be back out there as a golfer, but amazingly beautiful course. And I imagine it's only probably about 15 years older than it was then, so it's growing into itself right now.
Mhm.
If this is being viewed by some young person that's 14 or 15 years old, what can you tell them about uh, uh, both the scholarship ride and just the ride of caddying, how worthwhile it is to do?
Yeah, definitely. I would say to jump into caddying, look for a program near you. It's not easy work. I know a lot of people quit because they didn't like being out in the heat and carrying the bag, but I mean, you see me, you see that it can pay off, and just try to find the fun in it, enjoy the conversation and all of that. And yeah, it's just a great way to open so many opportunities. Not only do you have a chance for a full ride scholarship, but you can make great connections with the members, might help land you your first internship or a job. You never know.
Okay. Samantha, it's really been great chatting with you. Again, I just want to be clear so people don't misinterpret. This is not something you go in and caddy for one weekend and then you can apply. You have to be a
Yeah.
caddy for 2 to 3 years with some
Hmm.
dedication to caddying, and then you can find out about how to apply for this.
Yeah, definitely. And your caddy master will have to keep track of your loops. You have to submit your number of loops. And the caddy master also writes you a letter of recommendation.
All right. Great story. And I appreciate your taking the time to join us here on the Press Box
Yeah.
Live Zoom. And great luck. And you'll let me know where you're a veterinarian in a few years.
All right, I
My
will.
wife and
Thank you
I,
for having me.
have always have dogs. So we
Uh-huh.
love our dog.
Yeah,
All right.
they're awesome. I've got one sleeping over here right now.
Oh, what kind of dog is that?
I'm not sure. She's a rescue that I just got in May to be my buddy through vet school. She's about 22 and a half pounds. I think she has some like terrier in her, maybe a little Italian greyhound, but she's the
They are
best.
awfully special.
Yeah.
And you are special as well. Thanks for sharing your story with us
Thank you.
on the Zoom. All right, Samantha. Bye-bye.
Have a good one.
All right.
Bye.
And we'll remind you that we've been brought to you by C3 American Exteriors. C3 American Exteriors. Go to their website at c3america.com to get a brand new roof for just the cost of your insurance deductible. And again, as I say, every Monday and Wednesday on this Zoom, you'll have no greater expense than fixing or replacing your roof if you own a home. You got to know the people, you got to like them, you got to trust them. All three of those boxes I can check off when it comes to C3 American Exteriors for all your roofing needs. For Samantha Lannon, the winner of one of the recipients of an Evans Scholars Foundation full ride to college, I'm Stan the Fan Charles for Pressbox, and I'll see you Monday night with Ross Grimsley, and we'll have a special guest. But I can tell you that on the 23rd of August, our very special guest is Hall of Famer Johnny Bench, who was a teammate of Ross Grimsley's in Cincinnati. That's it for now.